I'm Owen Bardini, he/they. I'm the Computer Games Promotion and Marketing Assistant at Manchester Met University. So would you like to introduce yourself with your name and what year you graduated in?
Yes, I'm Hugo Sposetti, and I believe I graduated in 2022.
Oh, can you
I believe
briefly
so.
tell us what your job role is and what led you to pursue this job position?
Yeah, so I'm currently working as an XR developer. So I develop virtual reality and augmented reality applications, mainly for training and customer experience purposes in the engineering industry.
What specific aspects of your education do you think were the most valuable in helping you get your job in this industry?
In my experience, the most valuable thing was being able to actually have access to the tools that were required to learn such a niche skill. I would say being taught Unity at university was extremely useful. Being able to use VR headsets that I probably wouldn't have been able to afford as a student as well,
Yeah.
thanks to the labs at university, is also quite useful. Um, yeah, so probably that. Just the resources that you get from university that
How did you land your first job? And can you walk us through the application and interview process?
yes, because it was quite a process to be honest. I was always kind of a bit like a one trick pony. I really did enjoy virtual reality and I focused pretty much solely on that. I hyper fixated on virtual reality. Um, because that's what I wanted to get out of the computer games technology degree. So with Siemens, which is the company that I work for now, I believe that I applied through LinkedIn, and then if you go past that first sort of filter, and they like your CV and your portfolio, then you get asked to do a solo interview, which is just you go on a website, you put your camera on, like I've got it here, and then you get some questions on the screen and you record yourself answering them. So there's actually no human intervention there.
That's
So
brilliant.
instead of you, Owen, being there, yeah, instead of you being there, it would be just a website and you show me the question and then I press record. I explain, I answer that, and then I stop recording and then on to the next question and so on. And then after that process, that was the solo interview. Maybe like a few weeks after that, or like even months after that, I got an email saying that I can actually talk to a human being now.
Oh,
So
it's
we had an
advanced.
interview a bit like, yeah, yeah. So I had an interview a bit like the one that we're having with you, obviously, just like with a couple of people, and then I had that interview, and then a day after that, I got the job. Really,
Were
it
there
was like
any
that.
challenging parts with transitioning from being a regular university student to a working
No,
industry professional?
not really, because it really feels like you're in sort of high school again with this graduate program. Mine was slightly different because most of the people doing this program are engineers and they do have like different paths. So you might join the business as I don't know, electrical engineer or something. But then you go on a rotation, what they call rotation. So every 3 months you go to a different part of the business to learn different things and how different parts of the business operate. Um, in my case, it wasn't like that. In my case, I just started working as a XR developer, and I focused on that because there was no other. I was the only one, and I
Oh,
still am
nice.
the only one, I believe. So because I was the only one, they wanted me to focus more on like building a foundation and just building sort of a good foundation, solid foundation for us to work on our XR capabilities. But I didn't go through any rotations, and I just worked mostly like a normal job, really. Obviously with a lot of training and a lot of like training to do with graduates and so on. But mainly, yeah, it was a very smooth transition. There was no like I used to get the responsibility that I get from my job now. It was very gradual, so it's not like I started and suddenly had like loads of responsibilities and pressure. But it was very gradual. And I really appreciate how they gave me a lot of time to actually be free to build whatever I felt like it was needed to build and have time to build a solid foundation And now obviously now my responsibility is much higher, but it didn't feel like it's just been pushed against me or anything. It felt
So, were there any specific skills or tools that you learned during your studies that have directly contributed to getting your job?
yeah, I mean, yes, I mean the whole the whole degree, learning programming, um, learning Unity, especially because we focus quite a bit on Unity. They don't really at university they don't really tell you to use in a specific engine, so it's not like we have like a Unity lesson or anything. But I decided to focus on Unity because it was the one that had more VR capabilities back then, and it still does, to be honest. So I did focus on Unity, even though I still use Unreal for some things and here and then. But Unity mainly for VR, especially for like rapid prototyping and doing a lot of like multi-platform applications was good. So learning Unity was extremely valuable, and being able to learn how to do VR applications at university and building a portfolio while at university.
How important was your portfolio in securing a position? And what tips would you
I think
give current students about creating a strong one?
I think is the most important thing. 100%. I think that the first time I built my first CV, I wouldn't get much traction, and I realized it doesn't really matter what you put on the CV. What matters is what you put in your portfolio. So the second time I did like a revision of what my CV, the content of my CV was, and I just decided to have like one page, and literally the first thing you see is the link to a website. Just a normal. I think it was a free. It doesn't have to be like you don't have to pay for a host or a website or anything. It can be like a very cheap Wix.com website that you just do in a day. But your content needs to be very clear because you've got to. When doing CVs, you will have to be aware that the people that look at these CVs, they not might be technically trained. They might not know what certain things mean, and you need to sort of impress them. You need to show them, this is attractive kind of thing. So I tried to make a very flashy website with like showing cool VR stuff and fancy imagery, more like showing programming and technical things kind of thing, just to get through that first filter. And then if I get to the people that actually are interested in knowing more technical stuff, then I can actually talk to them. But that the CV for me was very portfolio oriented. So it was just pretty much, yeah, I've done this degree, I've worked here, I've studied at this university and so on. But the first thing that you'd see after my bios is the link, the big link of the website. That's what I wanted people to see. So I focused mainly on that website where it showed just with different tabs, so virtual reality, and then here's the projects that I've done in virtual reality. Augmented reality, here's the projects that I've done in augmented reality, and then some other stuff like that I've done at uni, like some graphics programming and some and then I've explained programming languages that I knew from uni and
Did
stuff like
you
that.
participate in any internships, game jams, or side projects during your studies? And did these experiences impact your job search?
I didn't do any game jams or stuff like that, but I did do many side projects that I did just for building a strong portfolio. So obviously, one of the things that I showcase in that website was the end of the year project that I did, which in my case was like a virtual reality show home application. So you would like so I got like I would draw a floor plan in AutoCAD, and then I would like sort of do a 3D model of that floor plan, and then I would put that into Unity, and then you'd be able to navigate that house that's not being built yet. And then you'd be able to see how it would look like in daytime, nighttime. Looking back at it is yeah, it's I could have done many improvements now that that I've got some experience and the amount of time that I took to do that, but it kind of shows you like how much I've developed as a developer. But yeah, so that was like sort of the main one. But I also did many side projects. I did like a Pokemon Go sort of rip-off.
Oh, nice.
It's an augmented reality application. Obviously, I didn't use any Pokemons with like trademark imagery. That's for augmented reality. And then for VR, I also was doing sort of like a mini horror game as well in VR, where you like carry a camera, and you have to put batteries on the camera and so on. It's very dark, and you see with like the typical green, like like Outlast with
Yeah,
the green
yeah.
filter. And then the monster is invisible, and you can only see it with the camera,
Ooh,
kind of thing.
that's pretty cool.
So that was quite cool. Obviously, I didn't finish the game or anything because it would take years. But it was like a demo sort of thing, so I did that as well. So side projects, yes, but with the intention of adding them to my portfolio.
So looking back, is there anything you wish you had done differently during your time as a student that might have made your job search easier?
It kind of worked out the way I did things for me. So I'm not really sure if doing anything, maybe doing more. I think something that I regret from university is like not socializing enough, I would say, because of
Yeah.
COVID, it was a big thing. So maybe, having many friends that eventually go into the industry could be a good catapult for you to actually get a job as well with them eventually. Or knowing, having connections with people that eventually get jobs in the industry if you want to be in the games industry. I, Me personally, I didn't want to have a job in the games industry per se. I was always more inclined into like engineering. Um, so I mostly looked for jobs relating to that, to like architecture and engineering. Um, but definitely having friends and having connections and doing game jams and using those game jams to having as well a portfolio and meeting people. I think that'd be something that I would have liked to do
Nice.
more.
Would you give current students or recent graduates who are struggling to break into the games industry in particular?
Because the games industry is a tricky one.
You can do it
this is
for
this,
any industry if you like.
yeah. In my case, I think for example, I know there's not many VR developers or XR developers or whatever, but if you focus on something that you're really passionate about in one specific aspect of it, I think you're more likely to get a job than if you try to like do many things at once or having like a very diverse portfolio. Because I did many little projects at uni, but I didn't include all of them in my portfolio because I didn't want to diversify it that much. So I wanted to focus on just one thing. So when people look at, if I apply for a certain job, I want that that portfolio to match that job as much as it possibly can. I don't want them to see some OpenGL stuff that I've done. If I am applying an augmented reality role or anything. So I would say enjoy what you do, because if you like get frustrated doing something, or if you think that you need to do something because oh, it's the new tech, or this is I'm going to do this sort of genre game because this is what it's cool now. We don't really enjoy it. I don't think that's something that's healthy. I would say just try. I know like hobbies and jobs are it's a very thin line between doing a job and being a hobby. But for me, it feels like I enjoy every day of it. I do my hobby as a job, and even though sometimes I don't really know if I'm working or not, because it's a weird feeling, and you might put more time because of that, or it might create problems with like how you manage time because of that. But I think like enjoying what you do is the most important thing. So if you like to do 2D development, like 2D games, focus on 2D games. Just because 3D games are more popular, don't do that.
Yeah,
Then I
because
would
that was
just
the end of the
yeah.
questions. And then I'll just
Okay.
stop the
Thank you
recording.
very much. Yeah.